Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by Jennifer C. at HomeLifeCultureLink.com, Nino Simeka at MortgageGodfather.ca, and Jewelry Forever at JewelryForever.ca. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott Dion Brown and Regine Alaina, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.
La 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 la. Look at this lovely foamy mountain, ladies and gentlemen. A wonderful start to a Sunday morning. Good morning, Aqua. Hello, hello, Zero. What's up? Leak and subscribe. That's right, Zero. Everybody hit that like button. Oh, Maria Brown. Hey, Mom. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to episode 120. 120. I remember that one because it was an easier number to remember. Welcome. Episode 120 of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. I'm your host, the one, the only, Scott Dion Brown. And I'm joined, as always, by the greatest co-host in the galaxy, the one, the only,
Regine Alaina. Happy Sunday, everyone. Every Sunday I tell myself, Regine, take out your milk foamer, put a pile of foam on your coffee, and just make Scott's foam look terrible. But
yes.
I woke up
Join
this
the mountain
morning.
club. Join the mountain club.
I'm not gonna lie, I woke up like 10 minutes ago. So I was like, yeah, don't have time for that.
Someday.
I pulled a Scott and rolled out of bed.
Yes. Rolled out of bed, jumped into the chair, and just slid over to the desk.
Exactly.
So how was your week, Regine?
It was good. I'm playing around with some spring ideas for deliciousness treats and, pageant sit down, keeping me busy. But other than that, it's been a pretty chill week. How's yours?
It's been pretty good. I mean, it's all kind of the same stuff. I actually yesterday I had to go for a drive. We had to run an errand, and I noticed, I guess because like I'm not driving anywhere, right? And I noticed the last few times where I would have to drive, like either just to pop over and grab groceries or something, I noticed that each time I went to start the car, it seemed like the battery was struggling, like it was getting harder and harder to start. And yesterday's it really struggled, like it was like it almost didn't. And I realized it's because we're driving so little, like because the battery gets recharged by driving it, right? But I think we've been driving so little that it's not, the few times we are driving, it's not been enough to recharge the battery. So I drove around. You need
to drive to like Niagara Falls and drive back.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It needs to be just, I'm hoping, because yesterday we drove further than normal, and I'm hoping it got some charge, but that just shows how different things are and how, we're I'm just hoping that, so that's why we got there, and I was scared to even turn off the car. I'm like, what if it doesn't start again? But
that's fair. Just leave it on. Leave it running.
Yeah. I had it all day. No, but it restarted luckily, but it was just something. And did you know spring is in like 20 days or something? Is that right? 20 days?
I mean, it could be.
I think I heard that.
We're almost at March, so that makes sense.
Just feels so weird.
I mean, if you go outside, it feels like spring. Like I went outside for a walk yesterday, and the snow is gone. So
that's true. It was warm. Like it's actually pretty nice out. It just feels weird that we're already, I don't know, this whole pandemic thing. Like I feel like 2020 just shot by so fast. Like it barely even happened. We shouldn't even count it. We should just pretend that didn't happen. And now it feels like 2021 is the same. It just feels like we're just flying so quickly. I don't know why. And we're just doing nothing. It's just sad, Regine. But Yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned that I was the greatest host in all the galaxy, but you realize you're not the only galaxy. I'm not the only galaxy person here today, right?
That's true, Regine. Some other greatest in the galaxy people are here. Our guest today, I think we should bring her in. We should introduce her, shouldn't we?
That was
I have
where
a
I was
bio.
going with this.
Oh, that was the segue. Yes. Okay, let's meet our guest, Regine. Let's meet our guest. Everybody hit that like button. Our guest today, project manager and Peloton bike lover.
Ooh.
She believes in the power of community service. Her extensive volunteer work over the last 10 years and mentorship with the Uncles and Aunts organization inspired her platform. Community leadership, growing volunteerism. At its core, it's about empowering and mentoring future leaders. In 2016, our guest today had the opportunity to represent Canada on the international stage in the Philippines as Miss Global Canada and placed in the top 10.
Ooh.
Yeah. And as a contestant and final 2 on the reality TV show The Bachelor. She got to travel the world, and she actually met her husband 2 weeks after filming. They dated in secret for 5 months and eloped on the beaches of Australia in 2020. That's pretty nice. She adopted her senior Chihuahua Zoe in 2015 from a kill shelter in California and continues to raise money and awareness for Adopt, Don't, Shop. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm sit-down welcome to Trisha Vergo. Hello.
Hi. How you
How are
guys
you?
Trisha, good morning. Welcome to the sit down. So for those who don't know, Trisha is also not mentioned in the bio. She is our Mrs. Galaxy Edmonton. So she is going for the crown. Excited to meet her in person and see her here in Toronto in August. And I say here in Toronto because she's from Edmonton.
Mhm.
You guys,
Yes.
it's early there right now, isn't it?
Yes. It's like 8?
Oh my
9.
goodness.
I don't even know what time it is.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
And thank you for getting up early to be on the show.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So Trisha, your bio is filled with so many things that we can probably pick and ask you questions on literally everything. But I'm
Yes.
curious to know what your experience was like in the Philippines.
That was probably one of the craziest things that I've ever done. The security team that we had there was crazy. We were in Manila, and the traffic is like notoriously bad there. It can take hours to get anywhere.
Mhm.
And they had, no joke, probably 100 police officers escorting us everywhere we went. So we were in this bus, and it was just like a convoy. It was insane. It was the coolest.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Hmm
That's
We
so cool.
also, they flew us to Bohol one day, and we got to see the Chocolate Hills, which
Wow.
was also super cool.
That's awesome.
What are the Chocolate Hills?
I don't know why they call it the Chocolate Hills, but like they're these like really, excuse me, weird hills that kind of look like gumdrops, and they call it the Chocolate Hills of Bohol, and it was really neat to see.
So they're green, but once it rains and stuff and gets mucky, it does look like hills of chocolate.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was also like, this is green. Why are they Chocolate Hills?
Scott, you need to go to the Philippines.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I'm half Filipino, but yeah, I never had the chance to get back there, or I guess I shouldn't say back there because I've never been there at all. So I've never had the chance to visit. But
Oh, you have to go. I want to go again so badly, like just to travel around.
I mean, you were pretty close. You were already in Australia.
Yes. You know what? I actually lived in Australia for a bit.
Oh, wow.
Australia is beautiful. I did have the opportunity to go to Australia one time. So you got married on a beach in Australia.
Yes. My husband loves Australia, and his best friend lives there. And literally in January, So right before the pandemic, we had traveled to Australia for six weeks, and we decided to we're like, let's just elope. Let's just do it. It's like quick, easy, and then the world locked down. So it was pretty
That was good timing.
Worked out. Awesome.
That's amazing. So
The only problem with Australia, though, is that whenever I'm there, I never get to have like a comfy bathroom break because of all of the critters. Like you can never comfortably go to the bathroom because you're convinced like a huntsman spider or a snake is going to get you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that makes me nervous about there. I know I've been Australia. I loved it every time I was there, and actually I noticed luckily I didn't come across any giant creatures, except we did come across a snake when we went to one of our Airbnbs, and I was just like, whoa. And like, you know, in Canada we have snakes, but our winter keeps most of our critters fairly small, right? So like, you know, a dock spider is like gross and big, but it's not a huntsman spider.
Like a huntsman's like.
Yeah. And in fact, I remember when I was in Australia, we went to Fraser Island, and I remember the tour guide. I still remember this. The tour guide's taking us through the woods, and he goes, oh, he stops everybody, and he goes, oh, right here, and he has a stick, and he's like, this is one of the little holes this is one of the most poisonous spiders in the world lives in these holes, and he's saying this, and he's like poking into the thing, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe you should stop poking his hole with a stick, right? And he was just like, yeah, right in here, right? You know, and I was like, but it was so. It was an awesome place, but I know the creatures get so big there.
Fraser Island is, I think it might have won this year the most beautiful beach in Australia is there.
Oh yeah,
in the world. Sorry, in the world.
Nice. Yeah, it's the biggest sand island. It's like the biggest island in the world that is completely made of sand. Like there's no, I don't know. I guess most islands have like a rock or bedrock. I don't really know islands, but I assume they're not all just made out of sand. But this one is all sand.
All sand.
And also that's the other thing that's weird about Australia is they actually have, like, even on Fraser Island there was like a yellow lake, like just the water, and it's not like pollution or something. It's like, no, there's like minerals in the sand and the water. So you've got like, there's a yellow lake and there's a red lake. It's like,
yeah, it's cool.
It's like a magical land.
Yeah, I love Australia. I also find Australians like quite similar to Canadians. Like they're really friendly and outgoing and fun.
Yeah, I think culturally, I think we seem to get along, and it makes sense. The you know, similar histories, I guess, right? It's about roughly the same age in terms of Confederation and things, and similar, you know.
Now you're just going down into history, Scott.
Yeah, I'm nodding my head like I know.
Yes, I am. I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, it's just similar, like the way, you know, Canada has kind of the British colonial history, and Australia as well, and fought in the same wars on the same side.
Cue the head nod, Trisha.
And then also, right, like Canadians, we have to deal with like harsh winters, which makes people hearty. And Australians deal with very extreme outdoors situations as well. They don't get the winters we get, not on the same level, I don't think, but still, it's a challenging environment. So I think it creates
hot. When I moved there, it was the middle of summer, and I remember thinking like, I can't do this. Like physically, I'm not going to make it. I'll go back home. Like it's so hot that you can't even breathe. And people were wearing pantsuits. I remember sitting in like the tiniest tank top and shorts, and I saw a girl walking to work in a full suit. And I was like, how is this possible? Like, how is she doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you acclimatize, right? But it was a lot. It's too much.
I guess it's the equivalent of like the guy walking down the street in like
shorts.
Canadian winter weather wearing shorts. It's like that.
Right?
Equivalent.
It's -5 and you're like, woo, no jacket.
Right. I'm pretty
it's
sure there's
sunny
people
today.
outside right now that are like sweater.
Yep.
They're good.
It's sunny, patio weather. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So Trisha, we talked about how you met your husband and you went to Australia, but in your bio you mentioned that you had done Bachelor and then 5 weeks later met your husband. How was the experience on The Bachelor?
Because I didn't like win, I find people are like, oh, how was it? And I'm like, it was the best thing that I've ever done, hands down. Like if you're thinking about applying to Bachelor, 100% do it. It was crazy. Like it was just crazy. I remember when I first got on the show, you had to pass a bunch of tests. So you had to pass like a psychological exam, you had to pass a physical exam. And then when I flew into Vancouver, that's where we started. They go through all of your things and take everything away. So they took paper, pens, phones, books, everything away. And then they left you in the hotel room for 4 days. There was no clock, no TV, no phone, and you didn't have your room key.
What?
Yeah. And that was like the first test to see if you could handle like the batch life. And they would bring you your breakfast, bring you your lunch. Sometimes you would go out to do a bit of filming, but mostly they just left you in the room. And I remember one day thinking to myself, like, it's 6 p.m. I haven't had breakfast yet. They've forgotten about me. Like, I was losing it. And they came and brought breakfast and it was 9 a.m. And I just had lost all perception of time. I thought I'd been locked in the room for like 12 hours.
Wow.
Cindy with an S. Oh, hey, Cindy, what's up? She's in the chat. Hi, Scott, Regine, and Trisha. Sounds like Big Brother Canada. Yeah, that's right, because Cindy obviously was on Big Brother Canada. So I didn't realize that, although I guess it makes sense. So the entire time you're doing The Bachelor, that you don't have a phone or anything like that, they keep that all away from you.
You don't, it's honestly the best vacation you've ever been on because you have zero responsibilities.
That's true.
They plan everywhere you're going. You don't have money. You have to ask to use the bathroom. It was like being a kid again.
Wow. So so you made it to the top 2, and I'm sure you watched your season afterwards, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but what was it like watching yourself on TV and how they edited how you were as a person?
I like explaining this part to people because like the producers truly run the narrative of a show. So for as much cast that we had equal amounts of production crew, and they call them story producers. And it's kind of like Big Brother. When they go into the room and they talk, that's the same thing. So they'll pull you aside and they'll ask you questions, and they can ask you anything you want or anything they want. And by doing that, they kind of like insert the narrative that they're looking for. Just by simply asking a question, right? Because you answer it, and then now that narrative is there. And I caught on to that quite quick. So I was really careful about, like, if they asked me something and I knew that what they were up to, I would, to be honest, I just would refuse to answer the question if it was like quite gossipy or like I wouldn't. Yeah. But luckily, like they edited me like fairly nice. But it was really weird to watch. We had like a viewing party. So me and my friends would meet out at a restaurant and they had TVs there and we would go and watch and have drinks. And it was like really cool to watch.
Awesome. How do you think they generally got you, I don't know, right in terms of how they edited you? And like do you said they got you nice because I assume they make sure that, you know, if you're getting all the way to the end, they're not going to like, you know.
Yes.
So
typically like the final 2 are going to get, I would say, like a nicer edit. I'll be honest, there was one girl that was the bad guy. Oh, and like it really actually affected her mental health pretty badly. I feel terrible. And I'm going to be honest, I was part of it. I was like, oh, she's nasty. I don't like her. And I feel bad because you're in the moment and that's all you have, like, is this bubble that you've been living in, and you're traveling and you're doing everything with these girls. And of course, there's going to be opportunities where you don't get along. And so like, I felt super bad for her seeing it played out. We actually, so the way that they film is they film 6 days out of a 7-day week. And then 1 day is called a dark day where you don't film. And we were in Italy, and you have handlers. And so they're like people that take care of the girls. And I was like, we're in Italy. This is insane. Can we please go into town? And she was like, like, I don't think we can. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to get in trouble.
Mhm.
And I was like, what if we just went for a couple hours, like went for some drinks? Well, next thing you know, it's 3:00 in the morning. All the girls are drunk and one of them is making out with a bartender.
Oh no.
It was insane. It was insane. Everybody was losing it. The girls were fighting in the streets. The handler was like, I'm going to get fired. I am absolutely going to get fired. This is the worst thing that ever could have happened.
Oh my God.
So then the next day we get back to filming and everyone's like,
Wonky.
I don't like her. I don't trust her. I don't like her. I don't trust her. And everyone's like, why is everyone saying this? Like, what's going on? And then finally the real story came out and the producers were like,
Oh my
you're
God.
kidding me. Like, you're kidding me. And so they had to, like, through interviews, work it into the story because everyone was so mad that she had made out with this bartender.
Oh my God. Did she get sent home the next day?
No, it was
Oh.
hometown dates were right after and he kept her, but then broke up with her right before her hometown date.
Wow.
I see.
That's crazy.
Such an interesting, it's such a unique experience. Like, I mean, you have gone through something that like very few people like in the world can even say they did, like this sort of very specific experience. Did you, when you went into it, like when you were going into it, did you think you would get as far as you did, or were you, was your, I mean, what's your mindset? Are you going in like, I know you had pageant experience beforehand. Were you approaching it like, okay, I'm going to try to get to the front, or like, what was your mindset as you were kind of going into this thing?
Yes. And I kind of have said this before that I sort of like liken the experience to a pageant because really and truly, like we all want the same thing. And there's a big group of women, but we're like friends and really supportive. And it's like a pageant, right? Like you all want the same thing, but you're competing and you're friends. To be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen. I just thought it would be a cool experience. I wanted to travel. And I think because I really focused on myself and like what my interactions with the Bachelor, his name was Tim, and I kind of didn't really get pulled into like being put off by the cameras or like drama. And I honestly think that's why I got so far, because I was being my most authentic self.
It's amazing. And I guess, but the other thing it's also unique to other shows is like you're also, it required you to kind of make yourself like emotionally vulnerable in a way that like other competitions wouldn't, right? Because you're actually like, I mean, looking for love and stuff, right? And you know what's funny? I actually realized last night I was doing some research because I wanted to, prepare and stuff, and I realized I actually watched a lot of the season you were on, and I didn't actually remember. Yeah, like because this was a few years ago now, but I just remember, like I started watching the first thing on YouTube I found was the after the final rose thing, like and as soon as people start coming on, I'm like, wait, I recognize these, I remember these people. So I actually saw I know for sure, I think I saw the first episode, and I did watch the finale. I don't think I watched everything in between, but I guess it was just one of those times that I happened to be kind of following. So that's interesting that I saw it. Yeah.
I died when you apply, they kind of give you a label. And for me, they wanted me to be like the pageant girl.
Oh.
And I was like, well, like, I have a really good job. I was working for a not-for-profit, facilitating professional development for teachers. And they were like, no, we're gonna go with pageant girl. And I was like, you know what? Okay, that's cool. And then they're like, also, you're going to walk out of the limo wearing a sash. And I was like, oh, hell no. Mm-mm.
I was just going to ask you about that.
No, I was like, so they were like, asked me to pack a sash to wear. And I was like, yeah, hot chance I'm going to do that. So I showed up. I'm like, oh, weird. I must have forgotten my sash. I don't know what happened. And they were like, it's fine. We got you. We'll make you one. And I was like,
God.
Huh.
It was no joke. Full first name, full last name, this big. And I was like, I'm not wearing that. And they're like, well, then pack your bags. And I was like, oh.
I'm wearing it.
Yeah, it's because they've got, I guess the producers, because they've, again, what you're saying, how they're
It's a
crafting stories,
storyline,
right?
yeah.
So like they have to, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I threw that sash on and off I went.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, yes, you are labeled as a pageant girl, but pageant girls are so much more than just a sash, right? So you were able to show the world through Bachelor what a pageant girl was, and you made it to the end. So I think you did all the pageant girls proud. I was going to ask you, before you mentioned the limo ride, getting there, I was going to ask you, like, did they give you labels and stuff? But now that you answer that question, my next question is, okay, so Cindy, she was on the show and she has mentioned her experience on not Bachelor. She should go on the Bachelor one day, on Big Brother. And she mentioned how like there's cameras everywhere and you have no privacy. Is that the same on the Bachelor?
It was way worse for her because I'm pretty sure they filmed 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't, I don't even think you can have a pee in private.
No, if you look at her YouTube video, she literally talks about changing under the covers, and it's intense.
That's intense. Like the mind game in Big Brother is wild.
Mm-hmm.
We would normally film, so 6 days out of a 7-day week, we would film for 12 hours a day.
Okay.
But like when it was bedtime, like the cameras were off. And then we had that one dark day, mm-hmm. which was really cool because we went to Italy, Bahamas, Tahiti, Mexico. And on that dark day, we would get to do activities without cameras. It was just like fun, which was super cool.
That's awesome.
So that's good. So you don't have to be completely on that,
Mm-hmm.
like that day.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Cindy, I know you have a boyfriend. I was just saying you would have been great if you didn't have one. You could have been on The Bachelor. We'll get Liz on The Bachelor instead. How about that?
Yes.
So, Trisha, you went from The Bachelor, met your husband 5 months later, or you were dating for 5 months after. Maybe I mixed that up. But if you had not met your husband, do you think you would have been on The Bachelorette?
Oh, I love this. Okay. So, I finished filming, and the thing about The Bachelor is they can't pay you. Because when you're traveling, mm-hmm. You need to have a work visa. So the crew was able to get their work visas, which can take months, pre-approved, but they don't know which girls are going to be going to the next location. Mm-hmm. So we just had travel visas. So had they been paying us, we would have needed work visas. So I was gone for about 60 days and my work gave me a leave of absence, but I wasn't making any money. So I came back and got a job as a server at a golf course. And that's how I met my husband. He's a golf professional. And so literally 2 weeks after I started this job and I met him, and I was like really sketchy because you sign a non-disclosure agreement saying that you won't date anyone and you won't tell anyone what happened. And that's like a 5-month period till like the end of the show. Mm-hmm. And so he'd be like, do you want to go out like for drinks or like food? And I'd be like, no, but you can come to my house. And I just like refused to go anywhere with him. And he was like, what? Like, why are you so weird? And then finally I had to tell him, and he was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. So yeah, home dates for 5 months.
I mean, you get to know someone a lot better that way too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sorry, I lost track there. But so we started dating so quickly, and then I flew to Vancouver to film the after show, like after the final rose. Mm-hmm. And I did a few interviews with like E-Talk and stuff like that. And there was like buzz about the next Bachelorette. And the producers had mentioned that they would like for me to do it. But what happened is City TV owned the rights to The Bachelor. Mm-hmm. And then they dropped it. And it didn't get picked up by another network for about a year and a half. So then the W Network picked it up. So like normally you kind of go back to back, right? Like they'll pick the next Bachelor or Bachelorette really soon. Usually they announce it after the final rose. But the network had dropped the show and they didn't have another one. So they didn't have a Bachelorette for about a good year and a half. And by that time I was in love with my golf pro. So.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have
Kind of-
gotten him on the show. Get some like storyline
Yeah, just rig
going.
the whole
Right?
situation.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do it, but he's got to be on the show.
And he's gonna win. So I mean, just pick whoever you want.
But do you think it would have been like if you? I mean, you said it was a positive experience overall. So if let's say if you were single, would you have considered becoming the Bachelorette?
1 mil, like absolutely. It's such a cool, like fun experience that you just like could never do financially, even on your own. Like
Yeah.
some of the places we stayed was like a castle in Italy and like one of those huts in Tahiti with like the glass floor. I can't afford that. Like it was amazing.
And in terms of, I guess, because I know you said at the start, you kind of approach it more as a competition, but I guess by the end, obviously, like the feelings were real for you by the end. Yes, I mean, were they or yes, they seem to be, right?
I mean,
Well, I mean-
it's quick. It is quick, like 60 days. That's absolutely nutty to think that you would truly know someone in 60 days, but it's like in depth. Like I said, no phones, no TV, no nothing. Like you are hyper focused. But I knew that he wasn't picking me before he told me. We were in Tahiti and we had we did our fantasy suite. So like for people who don't know, they present you with a card and then you get the opportunity to accept spending a night together alone. Da-da-da. And we decided to stay. And we didn't even hang out. He went right to bed. It was like 8 o'clock and he was sleeping. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And so I was like, what am I going to do? There's no TV in here. So I went skinny dipping because I didn't have a swimsuit or anything. And so I was just swimming around in the bath and all of a sudden I hear, hey. And I'm like, oh my God. Yes. So I'm treading water, trying to cover myself. They're like, what you guys filming over there? And I was like,
Nothing.
promo for the hotel. And they were like, oh, really? I was like, Meanwhile, I'm like, you guys gotta get out of here. Like, I'm naked.
That's so awkward.
It was the weirdest thing. So I went back inside, went into bed, and I kind of thought it was weird that he went straight to sleep. Like we didn't talk or anything. And then the next day was the other girl, April's, same thing, like date and fantasy suite. And I was hanging out on the beach with some of the handlers and a stray dog came up and I was like, oh, dog. And so I chased it and kind of ran down the beach and I saw them on their, like the deck of their hut and they were making out and stuff. And I was like, oh.
Did they edit you out?
They weren't even filming. Like they had finished filming and I just like came upon it and I was so sad. I was like, oh man, it's not me. It's not me.
At least you got the dog.
Right? He's super cute. I wanted to bring him home.
Oh man.
So then you already had a feeling, but so that's interesting because you said, 60 days it's short. Did you ever see the show Love Is Blind? Did you watch that?
No, but I've seen like the trailers for it.
Yeah. Well, in that one they
That one's
put
more
people- you don't get-
intense.
Yeah, you don't get to see anybody, but they keep you in a pod and you just speak. And do you remember how long that one was, Regine? It was only a few
Wasn't that
days or
long.
something.
Yeah, it was like 3-4
They're in a-
days.
But I think did any of those couples, are they still together?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Two
But a lot of them,
are still
yeah.
together. 3 of
So-
them are still together.
So in terms of as a framework for like finding love, you would say that it's a pretty reliable source or a place to find it? Do you think going through that experience?
I mean, it's not realistic. The thing, like, You're certainly not like traveling the world with someone for 60 days with no responsibilities, but it really strips down. Like you can't hide who you are. Like it is glamorous and fun, but it's exhausting. Like you're filming 12 hours a day. I think I took something like 19 or 20 flights.
Whoa.
In those, like that's a lot of, and I had 2 suitcases, I had garment bags, I had dresses, and like by the end of it, you're just exhausted. And so there's no way to hide who you are in that situation. So you truly are meeting someone like very vulnerable. It's your really most authentic self.
Yeah.
And it happens really quick, the connections.
That makes sense. Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, if you meet somebody in sort of regular life, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm dealing with this dating person, but then I got to go to work and I've got other social things, and so I guess a situation like this, it kind of, it puts it all into a little funnel, and you have one thing to focus on.
Yep.
Yeah, like.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
So Bachelor
Go ahead,
Canada is in the works, I believe, and it's in Alberta.
Okay. Okay. So
Here we go.
Here's the tea.
Yes.
I actually don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to.
Oh.
It's actually the American Bachelor that is coming. So typically they film in the mansion and then travel the world, but because of COVID, they've been filming in one spot. So they were in Pennsylvania for the last season, or they're still, no, the last season, yeah. And then before that, they were in Palm Springs. So they aren't traveling. They quarantine for 2 weeks and then film at that location. And so the Jasper Park Lodge got the next season. So like straight away, they were coming and they were going to stay for 9 weeks and film the whole season at the Jasper Park Lodge, which is huge. Like that is a huge deal. I don't think it's happening.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
It fell through.
But don't quote her on that if you're here for the Bachelor information, okay? Don't quote her on it. You didn't hear
Yeah,
it
no,
from
I
her.
know. I don't know where that information came from.
We're just
But
talking.
that's just really unfortunate because, like, what a great thing. Like, I know tourism is struggling so bad right now.
Canada needs it.
Right? And imagine that. Like, just like a spotlight on the Canadian Rockies. It would have been such a great opportunity just to highlight some of Canada on, like, an international stage. And sucks it's not going to happen. Disappointed.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. And there are plenty of beautiful places in Canada where you could do the whole show very easily here and find plenty of incredible spots to have vacations and experiences and things like that.
Like I'm looking at, I've never been to Alberta, but I know so many of the Galaxy girls from Alberta, and just the posts that you guys are all putting out there makes me want to go to Alberta and visit you ladies.
Yeah, like the Rockies are absolutely stunning. Like they're just so gorgeous, right in our backyard.
Yeah,
So
You come here.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw mountains was driving through there, and it's so you feel so small when you're next to mountains in a way that I'm born and raised in Toronto, and Ontario, we don't have mountains, so generally speaking, you're used to just looking out and you can see pretty far. I mean, there's hills and stuff, but it's not
skyscrapers everywhere.
Yeah. When you see a mountain, there's just something about it that feels so
Calm.
I don't even know how to describe it, but it's something special.
I know the feeling. Me and my husband go to Banff quite often. It's about a 4-hour drive from Edmonton. And excuse me, my favorite part is when you're leaving. So you're like where the prairies start and you're out of the mountains and you can just like see it behind you. And it's such a presence, like in your rearview mirror, all of these giant mountains. It's just a cool feeling.
That's awesome.
It's a beautiful thing. Oh, Cindy with an S says 3 of the couples. Oh, for Love is Blind, 3 of the couples are still together. So there you go.
That's a good track record.
Yeah.
For one show.
You're doing that right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that after this.
You should. You should. We won't talk about it anymore, so no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah. The concept itself was enough for me to keep. I mean, the thing is, I always say this, like, I'm always making an excuse, like, oh yeah, I watched it and then I got interested. Like the same thing, like how I ended up watching like most of your season of The Bachelor. I'm like, whatever. I turned it on and I was entertained, so I kept watching. And I did. And as I recall, it's funny. I don't have a good memory. That's why I kind of forgot that I had watched it. But
I'm
I tend to get
surprised you
invested.
remembered.
Well, because I recognize the faces, right? I suddenly started to be like, oh yeah, I remember him. Oh yeah, I remember this. And yeah. Anyways, I guess what can I say is I get. It's the pull of these shows is you very rapidly get emotionally invested in the characters, but they're not characters; they're real people. It's crazy,
Right? Sometimes they kind of feel like characters, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and especially because you can tell that the producers are, like you were saying, they do try to. They want there to be characters, right?
Yeah.
They want there to be bad guys
Yes.
and good guys.
I did ask The Bachelor, I said, hey, like, how much of, so like the decision making, like at like a rose ceremony, I was like, how much is you and how much is
Ooh.
production? I had to know.
Yeah.
And he said 80-20. So 80% them and like 20% him.
Whoa.
To be honest, I think I might have been an 80. Like, I think the producers liked me, and that's why I made it so far. To be honest, I wonder.
Interesting.
I mean,
So-
you got your TV time. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you think it's, so you really think more like, looking back now, you think probably he the Bachelor had a pretty good idea, like even early on, of who he wanted to pick, and then he just, you have to
Wow.
go through the experience. Yeah, I guess.
And they kind of like picked who was, they liked their character, like how they were interacting, and they would.
favorites. Stuff like
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess to an extent I can understand, in the sense that like I don't know, when you meet somebody, right? A person, you know who you're attracted to, like, very quickly, right? And if you're in a group of people, you're immediately gonna see, who you like, I guess. But what an Yeah.
Well, the first night, like, that must have been intimidating because there was 25 girls and maybe like 4 hours of time. So you'd probably think, like, right off the hop, it's just got to be like a
Physical connection.
So interesting. Very, very interesting. It's I don't know, it's a cool thing. It's cool. Regine, why don't we do the ad break, and then I want to come back and chat some more with Trisha Vergo, everybody. Okay. Today's episode of The Sit Down was brought to you all by some very important people. Wouldn't you agree, Regine?
Mm-hmm.
They are, of course, our advertisers. Hey, Regine,
Yes, Scott.
do you want to find out what your home is really worth?
Maybe.
Are you buying, selling, investing, or renting a home?
It might be.
Then Jennifer C., Realtor at Home Life Culture Link, is here to help. Call or text Jennifer today at 647-403-8887. Don't deal with just anyone. Speak to a professional. Jennifer C. at Home Life Culture Link. To see her current listings, visit homelifeculturelink.com. The Mortgage Godfather is here to give you advice with any mortgage needs you may have. And he will shop to find you the best mortgage. Nino Saimeka, mortgage agent. He'll give you an offer you can't refuse. Find out more at mortgagegodfather.ca or call 905-604-6955. Jewelry forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham. They do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and change watch batteries, all done on site. Jerry over at Jewelry Forever is an absolute artist. If you have a vision for a custom piece of jewelry, he's the man to make it for the Bachelor or Bachelorette in your life. And we have an amazing deal worked out with them, right, Regine?
Yes, we do. If you go in there very safely, now that they're open, make sure you let them know that Scott and Regine sent you, and you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
That's right. Tell them Scott and Regine sent you. Get 15% off your purchase. Mention the show. Say hi to Jerry. Tell him Scott and Regine sent you. And you can find out more at jewelryforever.ca. And it was brought to you by Deliciousness Treats.
Hot chocolate bombs, dipped Oreos, juice bombs, smash cakes, and more. If you are interested in ordering, make sure you contact us on Instagram at deliciousness_treats or Facebook at deliciousness treats. We do have some green treats coming your way in terms of St. Patrick's Day and some Easter fun stuff coming too, so stay tuned.
Deliciousness Treats, everybody. Sweet treats in a mug for you and a friend. Right, Regine?
Yeah.
And if you want to advertise on the show, it's very easy.
It's simple. All you guys have to do is email us at radioshowad, that's radioshowad@gmail.com.
That's right. We do this show live every week, and we do the ads live every week, which means you can customize them week to week.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a sale, an event, something happening at a particular time and place? You let us know. We let your potential client base know in real time. It's an incredible way to build a new relationship with a potential new client base. What an opportunity. How could you pass it up? Get in touch. Radio Show AD, Radio Show Ad at gmail.com. And we're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here. If you're just tuning in, we're here with Trisha Vergo, and we're back. Oh, hi, Loki. Good morning. Hello. Welcome. Also, I saw somebody followed on D Live. I didn't see the name, but hi. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure everybody's hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you are new. And here we are. We're back.
So Trisha, sorry,
yes.
I'm just going to start, Scott.
Yeah,
so
do it.
Trisha, you know, you did pageants, you did reality TV, you did it all, and now you're coming back into the pageant world. What brought you to Galaxy Canada and the beautiful sash that you have on now?
To be honest, once I got married, I thought that I was retiring. You know, my time was over. And I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw the Galaxy Instagram and I started following. And then I started looking at the queens. And I was shook, absolutely shook with the amount of work that you guys do in the community. Like, Galaxy is just such a different system. And I just thought to myself, whoa, like I have to be a part of this. I'm just so excited to be part of the Galaxy system. Like, you guys do so much. It's insane.
I mean, you as a candidate for the 2020-2021 group, you have done so much as well. Most recently, you raised funds for Kids Helpline with selling your pink tie-dye t-shirts, which I wore and loved, to be honest, so comfortable. But you also do so much, like not just you, but literally everyone in the year of 2020-2021. You guys are making the queens look bad. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm sure Cindy is nodding her head, being like, "Yes, they are."
I've done a few pageants, and I've never experienced this kind of just commitment to giving back, and in such a strange time too, because of the pandemic. People are just so creative with the ways that they're fundraising and the things that they're doing. And it's so exciting. I'm just losing it. I am so excited for August.
Me too.
It's going to be super cool. And well, for you as well, because you guys will be going to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see that too. It's
too.
just such a cool, I feel like it's so inclusive. I did an article I grew up in a super small town, like on an acreage. My first job was on a dairy farm milking cows. And pageantry has just afforded so many luxuries in my life, so many opportunities, like going to the Philippines and being on The Bachelor. Like, I truly believe the reason I got on was because of my pageantry experience. And growing up in a really small town, I never thought that was available to me. So, a couple months ago, I did an article with my local newspaper where I grew up, and I was like, just do it. Just get involved in your community. Get involved in pageantry. It will absolutely change your life.
Awesome. And also, obviously, Cindy is in the chat, and shout out to Cindy with an S, because she's very uniquely awesome at just what she does with her pageant. I mean, I've said this before, like, and even when she was a guest, it was amazing hearing the way she talks about the pageant and how motivated and excited she is to try to find ways to make it better.
You feel her passion when she talks.
Yeah. Exactly.
The best director. Like, just everything, like the merch store and how easy everything is, and like the encouragement, like the delegate portal is just awesome. It's just been like a really seamless experience. She puts a lot into it.
Just wait for the Nationals weekend. It's just going to get better from here.
Tell me a little bit about your support for Adopt, Don't Shop, because I know that's something that's important to you.
Yes. I started in pageants about 10 years ago. And that's really when my community service started, because I realized that like people will listen to you. People will support you if you care and you're passionate about something. And for me, I think like growing up in the country, I just have like an affinity for animals. And so I did my first fundraiser for an organization in Thailand, and I raised, I think, about $500 for the Soy Foundation, and they foster and spay stray dogs in Thailand because it's a big issue there. And I always said that when I own my own home, I'm going to adopt a dog. I think it's really important to own when you adopt, because you don't really have that stability. Like if you have to move, or maybe where you're renting, they change the rules. And that leads to, dogs not having a home. And so I adopted Zoe from a kill shelter in California. And it's just been so rewarding. She wouldn't even come out from under the bed for about a year. She just hid under the bed. I think she was abused. And now, like, I live my life for her. She's just such a little sweetie. She recently started playing. Like, I've had her for 3-4 years, I think. And she just started playing with toys. And I'm just like, oh, my baby.
She's a puppy all over again.
Yeah. I just think it's so rewarding. And buying, and I don't want to put anyone down who is like purchasing a pet, but I just feel like you don't get the same experience as adopting a pet.
And there are a lot of animals in need that don't. That's the thing. You're never gonna have trouble finding, animals that need homes that they,
especially right now.
Yes. No, you totally nailed it. Like, since the pandemic started, people were really lonely, and a lot of them were adopting pets, and now they aren't keeping them. So a lot of our local adoption places are just overwhelmed with pets because people have given them up.
No, that's true. Like, even here in Toronto, if you look at the news, there'll be some days like, oh, this shelter is looking for people to come adopt them. This shelter is looking for people to adopt. So it's happening all over Canada and probably all over the world.
It's also really affordable. So like, you think about purchasing a pet, some of them can be thousands of dollars. And like a typical adoption fee is between like $400 to $600, and they'll be neutered, spayed, chipped, vaccinated, like all included in that fee. So
yeah, and all of that stuff like if you were just buying one from a breeder or something, you'd have to bear all of those costs on your own, right? So
Mhm.
in the long run, it's better. And yeah, you're helping out an animal in need. But yeah, I think that's the problem. Is another problem is it's similar to the thing you always hear. I actually didn't know this was a thing, but I did hear that like for some reason, like around Easter time every year, there's some percentage of like parents who will like give their children like a rabbit as a gift. And it happens almost every year. And it's like, you know, they kind of go into this pet ownership thing, not realizing like you're adopting a family member, a child in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And so that every time around that time of year, there's always this influx of like rabbits that get adopted who then end up back at shelters and stuff, right? And maybe the same thing happened with the pandemic where people are like, oh, you know what? Yeah, this is a good time to get a dog. And it is a nice time to get a dog, but you do have to take into consideration, like, there's responsibility that goes along with that. It's not all just, like, it's not a teddy bear that you can just cuddle when you want to cuddle it and then put it down when you're done, right? It's, the responsibility is real.
I would adopt one. Sorry. I would adopt a dog, but Scott knows exactly how I am around dogs. So I'm scared.
Are you scared?
Yeah, I've been trying to get her more to be, because dogs, I think it's just.
Wait, your family dog is massive.
Yeah, but the massive ones are generally the friendlier ones in a lot of cases because they don't feel the need to. It's because he likes you. Yeah, exactly. That's like, because I find that the bigger dogs, I think they're more secure in their like. It's usually the smaller dogs who will be like, especially when the bigger dogs come along, they're really yappy and like because they feel like they got to prove themselves. Whereas the bigger dogs, they tend to be very sort of more.
Okay, Trisha, so Scott's family has this giant husky.
No, he's an Alaskan Malamute.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's massive, and I know he senses my fear the minute I walk in. Like, he just stares at me like, oh, you again. Let's try to get you to like me. Or when we're in the studio, he'll literally just be there, and I'm like, help, somebody. Yep. Or Scott's
right? They just know.
And like I remember Scott's family's like, oh, sit on the couch, he's fine. So I sit down, he literally comes and like sits right on me, and I'm like, help.
Yeah, it's my brother's dog. His name is Cujo, and like he's funny because I don't know if it's because he sees us sit on the couch, so he'll like I've never seen a dog. Yeah, I've never seen a dog sit like that before, where he'll put his butt on the couch, but then his front paws are still on the floor. But so like we're all sitting on the couch and he'll just sort of stick his butt out and sit it on the couch with us and then keep his front paws on the ground. And then, but I also think he doesn't realize how big he is. So like he'll just come and try to sit on your lap. And I'm like, okay, you're like, you're over 100 pounds. You're a heavy boy, but he's super friendly.
And you just laughed at me the entire time. Like, I'm not helping you.
Because he's a good boy. He's a good boy. We'll get you there one day. You'll be a dog person one of these days.
A year, I haven't seen him in a year, so we'll see.
Well, that's the other thing. The pandemic kind of put a hole in the plans because you were meeting him every week, and now, well, even I haven't seen him in quite a long time. So that's how it goes.
Boo.
Yeah. Well, we'll get it back. We'll be back to normal soon enough. Okay. Well, let's get to. I don't know. I want to get to know you, Trisha, a little bit. Just we talked about Bachelor stuff and we talked about pageant stuff, but let's you as a person, where are you? So you said you're from a small town in Edmonton, Alberta. And I don't know. Tell us about what. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Who is
Trisha? Yeah. Excuse me. I grew up like super small town in Acreage. I am in Edmonton now, which is a city like. I have lived in the United States and Australia. We recently converted our spare room into a gym during the pandemic.
Yes, you're a Peloton fanatic. How is that? I'm so curious.
I'll be honest with you. We're on our third bike in a year.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I know. And it's like, they kind of claim it's like a luxury product. So you kind of expect like a certain level of, but yeah, I don't know if because when the pandemic started, like their sales skyrocketed and maybe the quality went down, but the pedal broke off and it took 3 months to repair, and then the bearings went, and now like the resistance knob So they're bringing a new bike on March 26th. I was like, oh, good, timely, very good.
So because it's so expensive, I'm guessing there's a warranty on it, right?
Yes, so it does come with a year warranty. We're thinking about extending that warranty with everything that's happened so far. But aside from that, like, I'm obsessed with it. It's so fun. You can ride with your friends, and like the live classes are really motivating. And it also comes with, so it's got like the big screen on the front, and then you can do other classes. Like there's bar classes, like weightlifting, a bunch of stuff. I love it.
That's awesome. I've seen so many YouTubers using the Peloton, and I'm like, that it seems like such a great investment, because when you do a spin class, you pay a certain amount to use the same bikes as everyone else. You might as well have your own.
Right? Like it's about $20 typically for a drop-in fee. And like I love it, especially because we can't go to the gym. Like it was such a good, we like did the math and we were like, what are we paying for a gym membership? Let's invest it in the bike.
That's so smart.
Yeah,
so
I've
at home.
Sorry, what'd you say there?
Oh, is it fitness at home? Big on the fitness? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I've been struggling with the fitness at home, because I had a pretty good thing going before the pandemic with using the gym in my building. And then the pandemic came and all the gyms are closed. And I've had a hard time making that transition to like...
Scott, you know what you need to do? You need to hit up Buff Boy, who was on our show before. He does virtual training. Like, he lives in Mississauga. I'm in Toronto. But I've been doing a bunch of virtual classes with him. And you do need to invest a little bit on your equipment. Like, I have a bunch of weights just sitting there. But even if it's a half-hour session, it still gets you moving. And it helps having a personal trainer there to push you and keep you liable.
Yeah, I need something. That's what I just need something to, you're right, like kind of kick me in the butt a little bit.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, just because with the gym, I feel like it was easier because I had this routine. I'm like, okay, great. Now I go upstairs. And then once you're in the gym, I'm like, well, look at all this gear. Okay, I'm going to jump on this treadmill and I'm going to jump on this machine.
In your apartment?
I have two... or only one. I have one dumbbell, but I can't add weight or take it away. I have this one dumbbell. And my girlfriend has some of those really light weights, like those little guys, like
put it on your leg and do like lifts and do leg workouts.
I mean, that's the thing. Like
you just have excuses.
Yes, I mean, and the truth is, right? Like, I mean, you can work out with just. You don't even need stuff. I could do push-ups. I could walk on spots. I could go up and down the stairs in my building. I just...
I don't know how safe that is.
Well, I mean, it's a safe... I guess I could fall down the stairs or whatever, but...
No, but I meant the pandemic, but okay. Sure, yeah. You can
I see what you mean. Oh, yeah. I guess so.
The Rona.
But, yeah. It's more... I think the obstacle for me more so has been the... motivation part is just, it's a struggle. It's just one of those things.
Well, Trisha, you have a pageant coming up, so that must be your motivation to...
That is very good motivation. Kick it up a gear.
Scott, just pretend you're doing a pageant.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. It's if not being like, there's plenty of reason, like even just staying in shape for like acting roles and stuff. Like there is a good reason to. It's still just it's just tough to get out of it when you're at home and like bed's right there. You don't rarely get dressed. It's hard to get into that mode of like.
Yeah.
But if you're in athletic leisure all day, you might as well work out.
I know.
It's true.
It's true. I'm already in workout clothes.
Yeah, you dress the part.
Yeah. Okay, so you grew up on an acreage, and yeah. No, I like it. So what kind of stuff were you into when you were growing up? What did you?
I was lucky. My parents were. I'm so sorry. They're blowing the snow off. If you hear that.
Oh, you don't hear.
I can barely hear it. It's fine.
Oh, good. Okay. My parents were really generous with our extracurricular activities. Like, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but they always found money for. I did dance, folk dance, jazz, ballet,
nice,
tap. swim club, figure skating, gymnastics, horseback riding.
Holy.
Yeah, like you name it, I did it.
So what did you not do is what we should have asked.
Sports, I failed gym twice.
Oh,
Yeah,
fun
not
fact.
a sporty guy. Not good at sports. Not
That's
good.
okay. I mean, dance is a sport. Gymnastics is
yeah.
a sport. So,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what? I actually taught dance fitness for years, like in the evenings and the weekends.
Mhm.
So I would have like the full like Madonna mic and be like,
Oh,
all right,
awesome.
chasse forward, to the left.
That's
It was
awesome.
actually really, really fun.
We should get you to do that for the PJ party at Galaxy.
Oh, yes. I'll put a routine together, a little ditty. I'll teach it to everybody.
So when you're competing in a pageant, what do you usually pick as like there's a talent portion? Is it usually dance that you would go towards, or what would you pick?
I've actually never had the opportunity to do a talent portion.
I guess it depends on the pageant. Some pageants have a talent portion, some don't.
Mm-hmm.
What-
I've never
what would
been
you
in one
do?
that did.
If you had to pick one, what would you do?
I would probably dance for sure. And like
What
I'm not a
type of
great
dance.
Maybe like contemporary
Ooh,
or like some hip hop would be fun.
a hip hop contemporary.
Yeah, right before the pandemic started, I was taking heels class.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like that pussycat
Mhm.
doll style dancing. It was really fun. You dance in heels.
Oh,
Then the Rona came. No more dance.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen some girls who do heel dance. They do virtual sessions.
Yes, I don't
It's not
know.
the same.
Dancing around in my living room in front of a computer just doesn't do it for me.
That's fair.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing. I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's cool that pretty much everything has switched to online. But I agree. There are some things that I know me personally, just hard to get into the idea of doing it. Like I get it. I'm glad that it exists. We're making do with what we have.
Yeah.
But some things they just work better. Like I know I see every now and again things will pop up. Like you can do like an act. They're doing some acting classes. You can do script work or whatever. There are lots of things being offered, but I just feel like there's something to being in a room with people and working directly.
Oh,
So,
especially with
yeah.
acting, like it's like energy, right? And like it's hard to translate that through a computer.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to do like all auditions now have switched. They're all over Zoom or self-tape auditions. And I actually the last one I did, I would say that's probably the first audition I did over Zoom where I was actually comfortable, right? But it took a while to just get used to that feeling of okay, I'm performing for somebody who's not here, which is weird because you can't gauge. Like I remember when you go for an audition, you walk into the room, you do your thing, and then you leave. And even from in that little experience, you can kind of gauge a little bit from the feeling in the room and their reaction, like whether or not they thought you were good or not. Like you can just kind of see but that's gone really with a Zoom audition because it's just not the same. You can't feel the atmosphere. So, I think what you're saying, it's kind of the same. Dance classes as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just better to be able to dance in an actual studio than your living room. Right? So.
And you've
Yeah.
been doing coaching sessions too, right? Like for the pageant. So how was it dealing with a coach virtually versus in person?
Yes. I've been coaching with the current Mrs. Galaxy, Crystal KV. And I mean, we would have had to do it virtually anyways because she's in Wisconsin. But it's been, we do everything online now, right? Work. It's just part of the normal, I guess.
Yep. It's just the new reality.
It's the new. The new norm.
Well, like even like this show, I mean, like, well, I've said this many times on the show, like we were doing it in person all the time, right? So, we had a nice routine. I would pick up Regine, we drive over to the studio, meet the guest. And I was I really think we were hitting a nice stride with how the show was because there's just something so fun about,
In person.
Yeah. Now, again, this has been nice in that we were able to speak to people who are like, well, like today we're
Alberta.
talking to somebody, yeah. So it's a nice benefit, but there's still like there's just an extra thing about being in the same place as somebody. So
Yeah.
I hope we get back there soon.
I feel like even when we go back to in-person interviews, we're still going to be in our leisure wear.
Right. Leisure wear forever.
Yeah. I'll just have to I'll set up all the cameras so that it only ever films our top half. Because it's like, I'm sorry, I just can't wear pants like that anymore.
I don't know
So,
if I fit in my
sorry.
jeans anymore. So I'll be in leggings regardless.
Yeah.
Oh, Lululemon sales are probably just skyrocketing.
Yeah. And pant sales in general outside
Jean
of like
pair.
comfort wear.
Levi's is probably down the hill right now.
Yeah.
But
But they're like
Buy stock.
their jean jackets and jean shirts are flying through the roof, but their jeans their lower half clothing, they've had to slash
Yeah.
everything just because
Struggling in the lower half sales.
Yep.
actually, Trisha, you jumped onto the tie-dye realm during the pandemic. Can you tell us a little bit how you came up with the idea for Pink Shirt Day?
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about creative ways to do some fundraising, and I actually do a mentorship group called Girls Growing Strong, and it's for girls from 9 to 12, and we have about 12 girls, and we meet online every month. And to be honest, it's been quite sad. Like our kids are really struggling, like the youth. I think it's really hard for them to wrap their head around why they can't do certain things, see their friends, like their lives have just been turned upside down. And some of the girls I could tell like weren't doing well. And I thought I would really love to do something for Pink Shirt Day and raise money for Kids Help Phone, because they're providing 24/7 support. Whether it be text, which is really big, like with the youth of today, or phone calls. And I thought, what about a tie-dye shirt? I mean, we can't go out and do anything. And yeah, it worked out so well. I think I sold 15 shirts.
That's awesome.
So it was $200 for Kids Help Phone. So I was really excited about that.
That's awesome. And the shirts turned out really great. It was so nice to see like all of us posting and then finding which girl bought from you. I was like, oh,
it was so cute. So many people were wearing my hands.
How pink were they?
Like the brightest pink for probably 2 weeks, because I kept doing like small batches. So I like always had pink hands. I think they're still a little bit pink actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I think it must suck being a student right now. Like, I mean, we've had some younger people on, like some performers and stuff on the show, and all of them, like, they always have a very varying opinion on whether online, how school is online, and because I'm just like, I look back at high school and like my favorite parts about high school were, hanging out with my friends and like seeing them every day. Yeah, exactly, and like, you go to class and then and it's almost like school now is. All the parts that make it fun, they took those away, and they just left the part that like everybody tolerates. Yeah. So, and then
good for me. Probably would have passed gym class.
Yeah. That's what I wonder. What do they even do now? Do they do gym class?
I don't know. Yeah, I think they just do run on the spot. That's what the girls were telling me. Yeah.
Like I hear everything from a teacher's end, since my fiance is a teacher, like a high school teacher. So I hear that end, and it's interesting to get the views of our guest on what it's like to be a student. It's hard either way, to be a teacher or a student right now. But like you were saying, the mental health of these kids is a little terrifying to how.
Yeah, it's like I feel so bad for them. The other thing that I think is really not cool is that university students are paying full tuition for half the experience. Yeah. I think that's not cool.
Yep.
That's true.
These should definitely be lowered or some, it should not be the same as an in-person education fees right now. That's crazy to me.
And imagine the international students, because their prices are twice the amount.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
especially if you're not staying on campus or any of that stuff. And
Mhm.
so what are we getting?
What
are
are
you
you paying for? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah. Hey, Demon Mundane, welcome to the show. Hello. Oops, wrong. Yes, Genshin Impact will be in a few days, but welcome to the stream. And Nightwalker, hey, how are you? Welcome. We're here with Trisha Vergo as our guest. Hello. Thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button. Did you? I don't know if this is not really related to anything we were talking about, but I just read it yesterday. I don't know if you guys are either of you Blue Jays fans, baseball fans at all? Probably not. No. Well, they just announced that there's, for the first time ever, the Blue Jays are going to be the only MLB team. They're not going to have a dedicated radio broadcast for their games. So now they're going to. So before, like if you're watching the game on TV, you were hearing the TV announcers, and then if you go to the radio, you're hearing the radio announcers. Now they've switched where they're just going to play the TV announcers on the radio, and so they're not going to have radio guys anymore. And it's controversial now for a lot of people because they're obviously. I mean, I know for me, I don't know if you guys aren't baseball fans, but baseball's like the only sport that I enjoy listening to on the radio, especially in summer. It's like you're outside and you're out on the deck or you're in the backyard.
See, I'd rather
game on.
watch it in person than listen to it on the.
Mhm.
But I also wouldn't.
Well, I mean, obviously you prefer to watch it, but I mean, is like baseball, and specifically as opposed to the other sports, is one that like I can very happily listen to it on the radio while I'm doing something else or
It's
whatever.
So long.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it.
It's
But,
9 innings, top and bottom.
Sometimes longer. If it's tied, it goes into extra innings.
My cousin plays college baseball, and he's the only person I will watch baseball for, and it's long.
It's a lot of sports.
Yes, but anyway, I only brought it up because it was just. I guess the big controversy is, obviously the guys calling for radio. It's different because their job is to like. They have to think of that the people listening are not seeing the game, so they have to kind of create the atmosphere with their words, right? Whereas the TV guys, they can do more commentary and stuff, and so people are concerned that it's gonna like lower the quality of the broadcast.
That's fair.
So I don't know how I feel about it. Anyway, it just seems to me like a very like Rogers thing to do. Like nobody asked for this, but it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna like chop this part out of your experience and you're gonna have this now. I don't know, we'll see how it plays out.
I guess Trisha, you're more into golf or understanding golf from your husband.
You know what I do? We watch a lot of golf. We actually spent a week in Melbourne when we went to Australia to watch the President's Cup.
How was that?
That was a lot of golf. Yes, we got to see Tiger. My husband is the biggest Tiger Woods fan in the whole world. So it's been like pretty upsetting around here because he was in that car accident a few days ago. And like my husband is unwell about it. Yeah, he's like, he's got to come back.
I'm sure he will. He's had multiple surgeries, and
yeah. Well, that's the thing, because I think he's already was struggling with like back and stuff, and now apparently I don't know if they've released more stuff, but what I heard is he was pretty badly injuries to both legs, right? So
ankles, plates.
Yeah.
The bionic golfer.
I hope he can come back. 'Cause, he is. He's a legend, that guy.
Yeah. What a guy.
Yeah. Have you guys watched the new Superman and Lois show? You guys heard of it? Seen it?
No.
Heard it.
Just came
haven't
out.
Seen it. I'm too busy watching WandaVision.
Oh yeah, WandaVision. That one's good too. But
yeah, it was good.
No. Did you guys watch Supergirl? I don't know if it's long, but anyway, so Supergirl was on. It's a CW show. I didn't really watch it, but
DC person. If you haven't,
but the Superman who was the star of Superman and Lois, he was the Superman that they introduced, same actor that they introduced on there. They brought him on to here. If you guys ever watched Teen Wolf, I think he was the guy. He was in Teen Wolf as well at one point. He was
I did.
I can't remember. You did watch Teen Wolf?
Yes.
He was I think his name was Derek in the show Teen Wolf. He was kind of like the slightly older wolf who was like.
Now she's
I
second.
don't know that he would make a great Superman, to be honest.
Yeah, so I had doubts. Yes, I agree, but I will say there's only been one episode of Superman and Lois, and I was happy with it. I liked it. I thought he did a good job. Yeah. So I watched it literally the first time. We'll see if it turns out to be a good show in the long run, but I would give it a recommend.
Did you see Lodi's having his own show on Marvel? Or
Loki?
Did I call him Lodi?
Lodi, yes.
Whoops.
I'm super excited for that.
Me too. I sent it to you, Scott. I was like, oh my God, look.
Yeah. What's I guess now because Disney's pushing Disney Plus, they're really going all in with the TV content, and yeah, I'm liking WandaVision. It's growing on me more every episode. Are you guys both? Have you both seen it all? Are you all sort of caught up with it? Have you been watching it? Yeah, I'm liking it. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, at first, the first episode, they like truly committed to like the sitcom. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was so confused, but I was like, okay, it's just the first episode.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I think what threw me off with the first episode was the credit section. I was like, why is it so long?
It's like 10 minutes.
Look, yeah, that's like, and Regine, I know you said this to me the other day. Like the credits, in fact, it's gotten shorter now because they're done with like the TV show aspect. But yeah, like the credits are almost like the longest part of the show.
Yeah.
It's like
longer than the show, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember even saying when the show first came out, is that those first few episodes, I was like, I'm very curious where they're going with this, but I feel like
they found their rhythm.
I still feel like the first 2 episodes for sure, and maybe first 3 episodes could have been 1 episode. It was, because it was like I liked the idea,
short.
Yeah. Like I enjoy those old timey sitcoms, and there's a nostalgia that I like from them, but I do think it was it got a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it all makes sense. So let's see what happens next week.
Yeah.
I think there's only one more episode.
Yeah, that seems to be right. Yeah.
Oh man.
Because they actually like, you guys are all caught up. Yeah. So like the last episode.
I like how we're
really
trying not to spoil stuff. We're
yeah.
Like, ooh.
But they kind of, this is like the first time they ever because her character is Scarlet Witch, right? But in the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe, she's never actually been referred to as Scarlet Witch
Wanda.
before. But this is the first time, so it's pretty cool. It's a good time to be watching TV these days. That's good
Watch
stuff.
a lot of TV.
So before we started, Trisha, you mentioned something about Lady Gaga.
Yes, that her dog walker had been shot and someone stole her dogs.
What?
Yeah,
That's
that was
terrifying.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
How did they even know that was her dog walker?
Well, I don't think they think that maybe they didn't even know. So one article I read was that
they just shot a random man and took someone's dogs, not knowing it was
it's
Lady
because
Gaga's dog.
those particular dogs are
French bulldog.
Yeah, they're expensive and they can fetch a high price.
Stop.
So they steal the dogs to resell them, and I guess maybe they just happen to steal
the wrong
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga.
Oh my God.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's weird because it's one of those, like, you would never in a million years fathom that like a dog walker is like a dangerous job.
Now
you know
it
what I mean?
is. Depending on what breed of dog you're walking.
Yeah. I mean, short of being like eaten by the dogs, there's not really much that could
Not a lot of hazard there, but till now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Trisha, when you read that story, did it like pull at your heartstrings since you're a huge dog lover?
I was just shocked. Like and I think that's just really like a testament to like people's mental health right now. Like,
they're hustling for money.
Yeah, like a lot of people are unemployed. A lot of businesses are going under.
Dog walkers are going under.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe he's okay. I believe what I read. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's okay. The dog walker himself is okay.
Okay,
That's good because I thought when I read it that he had passed away, that he had died. And I
Yeah,
was
because the first article, like it said something that like shot like 4 times. I'm like, ah.
for a dog or dogs.
Yes,
That's
dogs, yes.
insane.
like, yeah, that's
People,
wild.
where is your
Yeah.
humanity?
Yeah, that's sad.
But what are the chances that the celebrity's a dog walker? Like, let's just.
I think she offered like $500,000 for the return of the dogs.
Yeah, and you were saying she got him back. Did they the dogs have been returned?
Yeah, she has them back.
All
That's still so crazy to think. Like, imagine how many dog walkers have actually been killed that we'd never heard of, but we only found out because it was Lady Gaga's dogs.
Yeah, like you don't even know that it's happening because
Right?
Yeah, that's
the
actually a good point.
assassins of the dog walker.
Like, how often would somebody stealing a dog get reported? That's true. Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, that's
Mind-blowing.
that's a weird thought. That's a weird thought. Oh, Regine, remember last week we talked about the Mars landing? I don't know if you
Yes.
heard about this when they landed a rover on Mars last week. But one thing they revealed this week is the NASA scientists had hidden. So you used a parachute to land. They had hidden a secret message in code in the parachute, in the pattern on the parachute, and somebody figured it out. And like
Someone replied
and-
back.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, they were able to guess what it was, but like it was like, I don't know. It's just a cool thing. Apparently, it was a French IT student, and he just noticed a weird pattern in the parachute, and he was like, "That's interesting. It looks like, is that a logo? What is that?" And it was actually binary code, and there was a secret message written in the parachute. And I was like, "That's cool."
What was it?
What is it? You can't tell
The
us.
message. Oh yeah, the message was, "Dare mighty things."
Huh?
It was like a slogan, like "Dare mighty things," like try big things. I think
Yeah.
is what they're trying to say.
Okay.
It's like an inspirational message.
Ooh, you know what? Speaking of space,
Mhm.
I saw a movie the other day. I laughed. I cried. It was the cutest movie ever. It was on Amazon. It was called Troop Zero.
Oh,
Never
Has
heard
this
of
super adorable little girl. Her name's like McKenna Grace. She's the best little actress ever. It was such a cute movie. Recommend.
sweet. Actually, I think I want to ask you now. So obviously, we're going through this pandemic. What are ways that you've been killing time or dealing with all the downtime? So I guess we've all been. I guess you've been watching TV. What are some of the things you've been doing? And do you have anything? Yeah, like TV wise. So you can recommend that. And yeah, how have you been dealing with all of this pandemic stuff?
Yeah, television has become a big screen time's up 200%.
At least, yeah.
I've been reading. Been reading some books, and yeah, we converted the spare room into a gym. So that's nice. Honestly, that and watching a lot of television.
Well, how has the pandemic been in Alberta? Because, we hear stories on the news that, you guys had no case or lower case count and then it went up. And how?
Yes, we were pretty similar to you guys with our lockdowns. So we have like a phased rollout where I think people were getting really frustrated because the way that the government was doing these rollouts, it was like, you can do this and then you can't, and then you can, and then you can't. And it was really hard for people to run a business that way. And also it was kind of hard to understand what they were thinking. So they did a phased rollout where it's by hospitalization numbers. So on March 1st, we're going to phase 2, and we have to be under 350 hospitalizations. And that's how the rollout will go. So it keeps like the people accountable. Mm-hmm. So if you're following the rules and the cases are staying lower, we can continue to open things back up. So it's been 2 weeks now, I think, that we can go to restaurants again. But still no at-home visits, and I still work from home mostly. Mm-hmm. The gyms aren't open, so.
I see. Yeah,
I like that. Oh, sorry, Scott.
So, go ahead, Regine.
I was gonna say, I like how they're doing that by hospitalization numbers. You know, like it keeps you accountable. Like you want to open up, you stay out of the hospital, kind of thing. But then that also makes me wonder: what if people are sick and do need to go to the hospital, but they're not going to the hospital because they want things to open up?
Oh, I don't. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, that is like all of that. I know that's generally speaking, that has been the motivation behind the lockdowns. Like some people think it's literally just to prevent the capacity. Yeah, well, the transmission of the disease, but also the capacity in hospitals from becoming overrun. Right, like what we don't want is to get to a point where there are no more beds, right, or there are no more ventilators, and there are right. So that's really what you're trying to slow. We're trying to make sure that our system can manage it.
And not just the COVID cases, because then it affects everyone else. So all the beds are filled up and somebody gets in a car accident. How do we help them?
Or gets shot because they're walking a dog.
Gets shot walking the dog.
We need
well, that's exactly true. And like, that has been, I mean, I like what you were sort of saying, how it was opening, closing. That's kind of been my biggest frustration with kind of how I think governments have been handling it, is that it's been, the communication from it has not been very clear, and like the strategy hasn't been clear a lot of times, and that's why now we're seeing a lot of people. I know in Toronto and Ontario, there's a frustration, and because it's been going on so long, I think you can see people are starting to get fed up and done with it, and so now it's like it's almost getting worse in that people. They'll put a restriction in place, but people are less likely to follow because of it's just fatigue with it, right?
Well, there's a county in Ontario, Simcoe County, excuse me. They just opened up 2 weeks ago, and they're going back into lockdown tomorrow. So you have all these restaurants that just purchased all this food. They now have, what are they going to do with the food? Because again, cases went up. People from non-Simcoe County, I'm going to say Toronto, PL, all the places locked down, have probably gone there, brought the cases up because they traveled, and now they're all suffering.
Yep.
That sucks.
Like, think about it. They literally just opened up again 2 weeks ago, and then numbers went up, so now they have to shut down again.
Yep.
Oh, man. That's hard. Have you guys had a COVID test?
I have. I've had a couple.
I have.
Have you had one?
The nose and throat.
I had the nose one. Have you gone, Trisha? Have you had one?
Yeah, me too. I had the nose, and I was like, "Whoo, I want to do that again."
I don't leave the house, so I don't. I don't.
I had to get them to be on set for work. So, 2 different sets. They had me get a COVID test like a few days before, and then I had to show like I had been tested, and I mean, that's why the film industry actually has done a pretty good job with getting regulations in place. Like they were very quick to set up regulations, because they wouldn't have been able to get insurance to even open if they hadn't. So I've had it twice. It's definitely not comfortable. I mean the guy he sticks it up the nose, and he says to me before he does it, he goes, "It's going to be 5 seconds. I'm going to count to 5. Don't move, because if you move, I might have to do it again." I was like, "Fine." So it's just like he's in there, and then he's like twirling it around, and you just feel that like, yeah. And I don't know how to describe the feeling other than it's very like there's that moment of like you're just like it makes your eyes water, and then it's done.
It's crazy because you mentioned being on set, and I follow a few like the MTV Teen Mom. I watch a lot of reality TV. It's a Teen Mom, and one of the little girls, I think she's like 4, she's doing her own little COVID test on herself. So it's so crazy. That's like a 2020 thing right there, where a little kid is sticking a swab up their nose and doing the test on her own.
But what is it, like a home test or something? Yeah,
because they have to get tested every couple weeks because they're on set. Oh. So she's like, "I'll do it myself."
I guess that's something that's coming, right? I guess there are going to be, home rapid tests. I know there's some talk about something like I don't know how they're going to do it, but actually some places already are. But like kind of some kind of thing an app you can have on your phone, or some kind of like a vaccine passport where you're able to like show that you've been vaccinated in order to be able to go to places.
That's annoying.
So I know that's something that's being talked about.
Have you seen they have like these watches or like these bands or bracelets that they're talking about it, that you wear, and if you're too close to someone, like less than
It
6
beeps?
feet away, it beeps to remind you to like move away from them. That's a little
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Although actually I think specifically with that, I think it wasn't something that they were talking about proposing for like the general public. I think it was to be used like a business, say if you own a warehouse, you could get these things to like have your employees wear it. That way they can sort of know to stay away from each other in the workplace.
That's just micromanaging the world now.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah.
Like, how far is
Yeah.
too far?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the question, right? That's the thing that people are asking. DUR have stupid. Hello. Hello, Scooter. Hello, Regine. Hello, Trisha. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Nightwolf. Hey, Scott. Oh, baseball is fun, he says. Oh, I guess we were talking about baseball. Yes.
I mean, it
Yes,
is. Like, I watched my cousin, like I mentioned, my cousin plays college baseball, and they're back to their season now, and they had a tournament. So I was like, all right, I'll tune in. But it's interesting
they're-
to see, because they're in the States, so it's interesting to see how they're taking precaution at a baseball game.
Yeah.
And that they're all
Yeah,
wearing
yeah.
masks while they're playing, even though it's outside.
Really?
Oh, really?
But it's like they're like the sport ones where it's like a turtleneck and then they just lift it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see. It's such a weird time. But yeah, I like. Yeah. Oh, I like baseball. Like, I like going to the park and like, you get a beer and you just sit and
Yes.
it's an
Caesar.
experience. It's an experience. I don't usually drink a Caesar at the ballpark, but I guess
That's
I
the only drink I like at Rogers Center.
Oh.
Is there Caesar?
Well,
Yeah, Caesars are good. Mm.
I do like Caesars. That's brunch. That's my go-to for brunch.
That's my go-to for anything. Caesars or
Caesar,
cider.
please.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. We should start. I guess we'll start to wrap up the show. We're almost at 2 hours. Actually.
Yeah,
That's
my
pretty amazing.
Instacarts have been notifying me like, please pick a replacement. I'm like, I can't.
Oh, well, we were just having such a nice time just chatting that you just
Chatting on a
Just,
Sunday.
Mhm.
So Trisha, what I guess you're preparing for the next pageant. Is that sort of your main focus right now? What's next for you?
That's really what's going on. It's Galaxy. I am
Awesome.
just in it. I've got all of my outfits prepared.
Ooh.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Very cool. And if people want to follow your pageant journey or what you're up to, what's your social media? Where can people find you?
Oh yes. I am Mrs. Galaxy Edmonton is my pageant page, and also just my name, Trisha Vergo.
Awesome. And I think I put your did I put your Instagram in the? Yeah, I put your Instagram in the description below, but I'll add the Galaxy Edmonton one as well.
Oh,
I'll
cool.
put that one down there. So link down below, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and follow Trisha. Hey Regine, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube every Monday and Wednesday for the pageant sit down. Trisha, I do want to get you on there as well. I'm just booked until May, and I was like, how can we get Trisha on the show before May? Let's bring her on to the sit down. So you guys can find me Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Regine Alaina. And follow my pageant journey to the crown at Ms. MS Galaxy Canada on Instagram and Facebook. Where can they find you, Scott?
You can find me right here where you're watching this very video. YouTube.com/Scott Dion Brown. You can also find me on Twitch and DLive, also at Scott Dion Brown. Or you can follow me here, Instagram and Twitter at Scott Dion Brown. Although YouTube is the best place. YouTube is where I've got other
And
content posted,
TikTok.
songs. Oh yeah, I guess I'm also on TikTok at Scott Dion Brown Official, but I don't really have that much on there. I mean, I do want to eventually add some stuff, but it's kind of a slow start to that one. But find me on YouTube. There's music on there. There's vlogs. There's lots of. We do gaming Monday to Friday on this channel now. We're playing some Brawlhalla tomorrow night. Everybody, come on by. And of course, you can join us here every Sunday for the sit down with Scott Dion Brown. Trisha, any final words for our audience?
No, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been a really nice Sunday.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, I look forward to it. I mean, I've said this before on the show, but it has become, again, because of our sort of, there's such a limit of our social interaction we can have with people. So this for me has, in a lot of ways, become like my only time where I actually have a semi-normal conversation with other human beings. So, I look forward to it, and it was nice to have you here. So thank you. And so say the Instagram again. I'm gonna add it right now. So it was Mrs. Galaxy Edmonton.
Yes.
MRS.
Yes.
Galaxy Edmonton.
You got it. Edmonton.
But yeah, Trisha, I'm so happy that we actually got to finally meet virtually. I know we've been following each other on social media. It's just so, I mean, I've seen you in our Zoom calls, but it's different, just how like.
There's so many people on the calls.
Exactly. It's so much different when you get to like actually talk to somebody, like Scott mentioned. So I'm really glad that we got to make this happen. I do hope to get you on the pageant sit down in May, because that's where I'm at right now.
Good for you. That's awesome. You've had some amazing guests.
Thanks. It's been a journey. I don't know, like I've said it before, but I have taken advantage of the fact that Scott does everything for this show. So when it comes to the pageant sit down, like you can ask him, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. There's some days right before the show goes on, I'm like, oh my God, help me. But
yeah, like a technical. You mean like the technical side of like running the stream? Well, Regine, I mean, you've hit the ground running with it, though.
I mean, okay, Scott, if I call you at like 7:15, does it freak you out?
I mean, I'm not freaked out, but I'm like, okay, so something's happening with the stream. Okay, what is it? Yeah.
I don't call you at a thing too. I'm like, oh my God, it's an emergency. Help me.
Actually, that's true. If my phone rang and it was you, that would be like, oh, something's really wrong.
Oh,
but that's generally the case.
Working.
People don't usually call each other unless it's like, otherwise people text. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But yeah, no, Trisha, I want to have you on the show one day. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But I do want to get you on the show. But I'm so glad that we were able to get you here today and just learn more about. There's so much about reality TV that you don't see. And Scott and I both watch a lot of reality TV. Like he made me watch Love is Blind and I binged it in a day. So I think that goes to show you, like, we both enjoy it. So learning about the behind the scenes from you was amazing.
But yeah, like, I mean, it was like I said, you are one of a very small number of people in the world who've experienced something like that. Mm-hmm. And even just the stuff you said, like there are things about it didn't even occur to me, or like
the labeling part. I had no idea that they're like, here, you're gonna be the pageant girl.
Oh yeah, one of the girls was a ballerina, and like I don't think she had danced in years, and they're like, oh, you're a ballerina. She was like, okay, cool.
You're gonna come in on your toes, and you're gonna flutter your way through.
Yeah,
totally. It's so funny.
It just shows the even reality TV. There is very much an artificial part of it, but
yeah.
But it was also cool, just like even the idea that you had to be isolated for like 4 days, and just even before it even starts, and then
two girls didn't even make it through the isolation.
No, I can't imagine what that would be like on your mental well-being, just not knowing what time it is.
It was really weird. They did have a psychologist there that visited you daily. Like, how are you doing? And what's up?
It's crazy. Oh, Legacy SUF, thank you for the follow. I just saw you followed. Hi, welcome to the channel. Well, you just caught the very back end of the show here. But yeah, really, really cool to hear about your experiences on there. It's so
thanks, guys. I had such a good time.
All right, everyone. All of you guys who tuned in, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like button if you're watching on DLive or Twitch. A follow would be appreciated. You can also find the Discord server as well. Link in description. Guys, thank you guys. You could have gone to any website in the world. You could have watched any video on this entire internet, and you chose to share your Sunday morning or evening, wherever you are, with us. And for that, we're very grateful. So thank you so much. And Trisha, thanks again. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.